that is most definitely my seat, isn't it? Afternoon guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're talking about this lens and why I bought it. So this is a vintage lens. It is 60 years old from what I found online. It was made in the 1960s. It's a COSINA f2.1 55mm. And I've also bought an E-mount adapter so I can, because it's a M42 thread, so I bought an E-mount adapter so I can screw it into this and I can mount it onto my Sony A7iii. Spoiler alert, I bought this lens because I want to do some street photography with it. Obviously right now we can't do street photography because of the lockdown and the current global situation. So I wasn't going to make this video, and then I went and had a play around with it around the house and was so impressed with the photos that came out of it that I then decided to make the video, and then I just didn't like the video I made. So we're now re-recording it. It is as basic as a lens can get. It is a piece of glass in the middle of a metal container, really. I had to give it a bit of a clean when I first got it because it was a bit dirty. Why did I buy a vintage lens? So a while ago, 7th Era did a YouTube video about him using a vintage lens, and that intrigued me as to why he was using it. And I then started looking into it more and found it's quite popular for photographers to use vintage lenses. And the main reason behind it is because it completely slows down the process. And what I mean by that is everything, like there's no electronics in this, everything is manual. So you have to manually focus it yourself, which obviously a lot of people do anyway, but you have to manually focus yourself, you have to manually set the aperture on the lens itself, and then you have to take in everything into account. You have to adjust pretty much every setting before you take each photo. And then it completely slows down the process, because obviously with a digital camera you can, if you want, set it to do everything you want for you, and you just spam photos. Whereas with this, you have to adjust, you just have to slow down and adjust everything yourself as you're going. And that really intrigued me as a concept, and I really wanted to give it a go. And I also wanted to see how good vintage lenses are. So I bought this one. I got it really cheap. This £12 on Depop with delivery. I got the adapter on eBay for a tenner. I'll link it down below if you're interested. So yeah, I got it yesterday, and I mounted it onto my Sony, took a few photos around the house, which I'll shove up on screen now, and was so impressed with how these photos came out. Like, ridiculously impressed. Considering this lens is 60 years old and I mounted it onto a camera that's only a few years old, I was so impressed with the sharpness that came out of it, and just, the photos just look so good, and they look retro, they kind of look vintage, and obviously I did a bit of a vintage edit on them because I wanted to emphasise that, but they just look old school, and I love that. You know me, you know I love old cameras, I love old lenses. But yeah, I'm just so impressed with how sharp the photos came out, and it is generally really fun to, obviously I was walking around trying to get a picture of the animals. The animals move quite quickly, so trying to manually focus is a bit of a challenge, but it's an extra challenge and it makes it more fun, in my opinion. But yeah, I had a lot of fun playing around with this lens yesterday, and I'm really excited to go and use it in street photography. I think it's going to be really cool. I can reach 50mm or 55mm on my zoom lens, but I haven't got a prime 50mm. Obviously it's a prime 55mm, but I really like that focal length because it's meant to be very similar focal length to what we can see as humans. And I really like that focal length for street photography. So I'm very excited to go out and use this in street photography and just slow down the process and see what shots I can get and see what I can get out of it. Obviously that won't be for a while. I'll probably do a video on it then. But yeah, I just wanted to make a quick video talking about this lens, talking about why it's cool, and yeah, show you a couple of photos I've already got with it just around the house, and at some point we'll revisit it and do a full street photography video. Okay, so after filming this talking section, I actually went out and got some test shots in the garden with the lens on as well. This isn't for any particular reason. I didn't do this because I want to use this lens for videography or anything like that, because I don't plan on using it for that. This lens is more just for playing around, a bit of fun for me, so I can try out vintage lens and also to do photography with. But I thought it'd be quite interesting to put it to test with some video footage as well. As you can see here, I was just getting random clips around the garden just to kind of see what it's like in a video form as well as a photo form,
just as a little experiment. So yeah, these are a few clips of that. Also, if you stick around to the end of the video, there's a cute little clip of Izzy being an absolute nutcase.
But yeah, that's all for today. Just wanted to talk about this vintage lens and dipping my toes into the world of vintage lenses. If you know anything about vintage lenses, please drop a comment down below. I'd love to know more about them. As always, if you like the video, please drop a thumbs up down below. It does massively help out. Subscribe if you want to see more of the content. As you can probably tell, I'm trying to upload twice a week if possible. All the other stuff that YouTubers tell you to do. And I'll see you in the next video. Peace.